One of my favorite tests is the continuous glucose monitor. You heard me mention it as a bonus in the top 5 tests, and then a 6th one as a bonus, that's the continuous glucose monitor. This is a little device. It's about the size of a quarter that you attach to your upper arm. Perhaps you've heard about these. And the continuous glucose monitor gives us a glucose reading throughout your entire 24 hours for 2 weeks, depending on which one you get. There's several brands. But the reason it is so exciting and so important to be able to understand what your glucose is doing every moment of every day on a 24-hour basis for 2 weeks or for an extended period of time is because it's a real eye-opener into how well are you doing with your sleep, with your stress management, with your diet, with your exercise. So many things can impact our blood sugar or our glucose level, including, of course, what we eat. So this continuous glucose monitor is very insightful. You want these continuous glucose readings. The ideal reading is for your number to hover between 70 and 125 24/7. So you want to see little rolling hills between 70 and 125. Now, we've had a few individuals that exhibit that kind of reading, but most of us have spikes or peaks. We eat something and that glucose might be 70 or it might be 100, whatever it is to start with, and it zooms right up to 180, to 200, to 155, sometimes even higher than 200. And that's dangerous. And then it a lot of times will just drop right back down. And so what this is telling us is, you've heard me talk about insulin and glucose communication. Our insulin and our glucose are trying very hard to give us the nutrients we need from the glucose or the carbohydrates from our food, and to save our lives from the glucose going too high, particularly going too high and dropping like a rock. When we eat something sweet, when we eat a carbohydrate, and sometimes it can be fruit, I'm not recommending that we avoid fruit. I'm recommending that we wear the continuous glucose monitor to understand the best way to eat fruit and the best time to eat fruit, because anything that's a carbohydrate, certainly ice cream and candy for sure, but anything that's a carbohydrate can cause the glucose to spike. And so we want to eat the carbohydrate after our protein and our fat, and we want to minimize the amount of carbohydrate that we have. And most importantly, we do want it to be a carbohydrate like a vegetable or a fruit, not crackers out of a box, for example. All of these things become clearer once you wear your own continuous glucose monitor and you see how high your blood sugar goes after a breakfast that perhaps you think was a healthy breakfast. One common misunderstanding is that oatmeal and dried fruit is a great breakfast. And I've yet to see an individual that has a nice rolling hill kind of a bump after an oatmeal and dried fruit breakfast. It's just not a great way to start the day. You want to start your day with something savory, or perhaps even fast a little bit in the morning and delay that morning meal until later in the day. So I'm getting into tips and tricks. There are all kinds of things you can do to make sure you've got those rolling hills between 70 and 125. But first, you have to know where you stand. And so this continuous glucose monitor has been a game changer. It is so helpful because you wear it at home and we give you feedback right away. During that first week, it's kind of a learning process of, oh, this is what I normally eat and this is what it's doing. And then we really help you make some changes that second week so that you can reduce those peaks or those spikes, if you will, in the glucose. And then we recommend that you do that. It just depends on the individual, at least every 3 months. Sometimes people want to work on their diet for 2 to 4 weeks and do it again in another month or two. And then we have individuals that wear them most all of the time, and that's not wrong to do. This continuous glucose monitor was actually designed for the diabetic patients to help them understand how to dose themselves in terms of insulin and how all the things that we talked about impact their blood sugar. But it's been a very powerful tool in reversing diabetes in our patients, that we can reverse their diabetes, and in keeping someone from developing diabetes if they're showing signs of prediabetes or insulin resistance, and just improving our daily performance, improving our cognitive function, certainly improving athletic performance. All of this is fueled by our diet and by all of those other things that I said that can impact your glucose: stress and sleep and breathing, etc. So the continuous glucose monitor, if you haven't worn one, please consider wearing a continuous glucose monitor and have someone help you understand how to make those changes. And it's a lifesaver and a game changer in achieving the health that you want. If you want to talk about reversing the aging process, like we've talked about in the genetic and epigenetic video, slowing down that aging process, one of the most valuable tools is to have those nice rolling hills where your glucose doesn't spike. You also don't want it to drop to 60 or 40 all of the time. So you want nice rolling hills between 70 and 125. I'm Dr. Gina Pritchard, owner of the Prevent Clinic. Please contact our office to learn more.